Barbenheimer is in full swing indeed, and it's time to complete this journey with my review of Christopher Nolan's latest, Oppenheimer. There will be spoilers in this review, so I highly suggest you go see the film first and then come back for my review. As stated, Oppenheimer is directed by Christopher Nolan. It is rated R with a runtime of 3 hours. And here's a little taste on what the film is about. During World War II, Lieutenant General Leslie Groves Jr. appoints physicist J. Robert Oppenheimer to work on the top-secret Manhattan Project. Oppenheimer and a team of scientists spend years developing and designing the atomic bomb. Their work comes to fruition on July 16, 1945, as they witness the world's first nuclear explosion, forever changing the course of history. Now, I'm not as well versed in history, so I was only vaguely familiar with J. Robert Oppenheimer and his creation of the A-bomb, but after seeing this movie, I want to know as much about him as possible now. Nolan's latest is an intense, riveting, and dark piece of work that encapsulates the man himself and sheds such a light on the power he possessed in creating this destructive weapon that would change the world and also kill thousands. Cillian Murphy leads this star-studded cast as the title character, and I was so enamored by his performance. I personally don't know why Murphy has not had too many leading roles in films over the years, but this will wholeheartedly solidify him as more of a leading man going forward. This is his movie. Those moments in the film that Oppenheimer is contemplating the choices he's made to get to this point, and the guilt and weight of those choices, the blood on his hands, comes through in such a haunting, tragic way that only someone like Murphy can convey. And it's just spectacular. The same can be said for the likes of Robert Downey Jr. and Matt Damon, both stellar in their performances, particularly Downey, who will no doubt get a nomination for Best Supporting Actor. I was really surprised how star-studded of a cast this is, and that cannot be understated. Nolan reunites with cinematographer Hoyt van Hoytema, who worked with him on Interstellar, Dunkirk, and most recently Tenet. Easily a collaboration that needs to continue, as Hoytema is at his absolute best here, working in tandem with Nolan to provide not only the best shot, but the best way to express a scene in a dramatic way and also a subtle way. I was very impressed. Another thing to be commended about is this film utilizes no CGI whatsoever. Nolan is notorious for this type of style, as he only uses CGI as a last resort and feels, those types of special effects can take away from the cinematic experience, and I wholeheartedly agree. The score is composed by Ludwig Göransson, who also composed the score for Tenet, and he was just a masterstroke of a choice. The way the tones crescendo in conjunction with the scenes of Oppenheimer at the Los Alamos testing site, and also when he deals with the political turmoil of his actions, it was beautifully done. The score alone had me on the edge of my seat so many times. Now, this being 3 hours long, I will be honest in stating that I did feel the runtime just a bit. Near the end, I started to wonder, alright, how much time do we got left here, as the lead up to the test of the bomb is where the pacing kind of peaks and then starts to dip a bit after the test is done. Also, the plot got a little convoluted for me, and the non-linear fashion in the way the story just kind of jumps around in the timeline, it just kind of confused me a little bit. It was helpful to a degree to separate some of those scenes by placing them in black and white. However, it did take me a minute to figure out where exactly on the timeline the events of the scenes took place outside of that, as those remaining scenes were in colors. So it took me a little bit of time to figure out, okay, so this is where we are at this point in the story. It's time to get down to the nitty-gritty and ask, what would I score this film? Now, despite the long runtime and the sometimes confusing non-linear way of storytelling, the film is an incredibly dark, bleak study on the brilliance of man, but also the monstrous effects that brilliance has on mankind as a whole. Performances were stellar all around, especially from Murphy and Downey. The cinematography was in top form, and the use of practical effects were smartly presented in a very realistic way that just elevated the experience. Göransson's score added even more depth to that experience and had me on the edge of my seat quite often. I won't go so far to say that this is Nolan's magnum opus, but I will say it is an intense film that Chris Nolan has put so much passion into, and it shows on screen. It easily makes my top 5 list of Nolan films. I'm giving Oppenheimer a score of 4 out of 5. Did you see Oppenheimer yet? What did you think? Where would you rank it on your Nolan film list? Let me know down in the comments below. While you're at it, please like this video if you enjoyed, and subscribe to my channel where I talk all about movies and games. Until next time, folks, keep it classy and keep it geeky.